A pleasure to meet all at last, and here we are once again with some more Nerf Secrets Revealed Aftersought Part 2. Well, not really a Part 3, not for a while at least. But those of you who might be familiar with the likes of the Boom Dozer and Big Rig, well, look out, because it's time to take care of some unfinished business when it comes to the Mega XL series. After all, only 3 blasters came out, and it sure proved to be way more than just a simple flop. This was a good reason why we never truly decided to move on from a Mega series and try to go with something even more cutting edge. Let's face it, 21 was just the worst flippin' year of all time. And I guess as time goes on, it gets really difficult for me to compose myself. Knowing the frustration that a lot of us have suffered with throughout those years, and even today, a lot of us will definitely look back on the kind of decisions we made, whether questionable or even criminal. How we got away with some of these things is truly beyond me. Enough about that though. This is the Mega XL Doublecrusher, the third and final blaster in the Mega XL series. And well, just as we've noticed, these darts are enormous. You can basically stuff an Elite in a Mega, and now you can stuff a Mega in an XL. It goes to show, what could we possibly stuff an XL into? Maybe one of those Titan ASV-1 rockets? I sure do hope that in the future we do get more rocket or missile launcher related blasters, because I'm sure that's something that most of us will be expecting. Because with all this type of new proprietary ammo and all the blasters we need to buy just to make this work, it really makes you wonder what kind of possibilities could be out there. In any case though, the XL Doublecrusher is certainly not a great way on finalizing the XL series, because after all, it's little more than a simple pump action shotgun, complete with a stock that, believe it or not, is detached from the blaster but can't be removed upon it being attached. So much like a number of other blasters that we got over the years, the Zombie Strike Flip Fury, the Halo Mangler, the Mega Centurion, there's just been a variety of different permanent attachments that just are detached from the blaster when new in the box, but once they're fully assembled, then well, it is what it is. The Doublecrusher is basically like that of a really, really super large sawed-off shotty, basically without the stock, but with it on, it basically does give it not that much composure. I feel like that the stock and handle are a bit small in conjunction to the large proportions of what the barrel system is like. It almost gives me the vibes that are quite similar for the Mega Double Breach, which itself is a shotgun built on similar lengths. It had double barrels, slide pump action on the bottom, but the main thing is that the darts actually load from the front and not from within the blaster's chamber itself, unlike with the Double Breach. So I guess that's one major difference we have here. And also with this being a stock blaster, literally, not figuratively, that also is a good reason to differentiate it from the Mega Double Breach. But apart from all that, with that being a Mega XL blaster, I'd say with all the cons I've identified about the lineup as it is, I feel like there are some pros that do need to be highlighted here. I do like the pump action itself and the grip itself, and admittingly, despite the stock being a bit small even by my standards, still does have a decent level of comfort built into it, knowing that my proportions are somewhat larger than average. Also, with this having only 2 darts that you can load into it, this does have its own set of, well, reloading, as you can see. But of course, there is one other unique feature about this. Once you have 2 darts loaded in, guess what? Much like how the Double Breach was, believe it or not, slam fire operated, you can actually do the same with this. Yeah, surprising, because that's how I feel about this. Also, with this having itself a tactical rail on top, I guess if somebody could, in fact, create 3D printed fabricated parts to hold extra XL darts, much like how some people were able to create dart holders for mega darts and even holders for rival rounds, it only makes you wonder, could there be someone out there on like Etsy or something where they can create 3D printed parts and accessories for Nerf blasters that are XL darts related? I guess we will see how that works out. But there is one other thing that I might as well do, and that is, of course, to put in the Invisibullets. Now, much like what I did with the Big Rig and Boom Dozer, the Doublecrusher is, in fact, gonna get itself the old Mega XL Invisibullet treatment. So, let's just see how this goes. Well, you know what? I'd say this is a good win. By my standards, the Invisibullet technique does give it way more kick than I would have anticipated. At first, I would have figured that the Boom Dozer and its supposed great grenade launcher capabilities were enough to really shove me through the rest of the frame, and to the point where I would have fallen over on my side, but the Doublecrusher almost has that beat. And with this being more shotgun oriented than grenade launcher or pistol oriented, I can't really be sure. It's more like shotgun pistol basically. I'd say with the Doublecrusher, it still has a lot of win in many different ways. It still does have a great profile on it. It still does have some great pump action to it, especially with the nice texture that they put down below. It still has that amazing Mega XL logo on it, which is an especially nice 3D piece. In comparison to those gold placards of the Ultra line that I've seen over the years, I'd say this would be almost good enough to compete. Because the way this XL was made with that unique earthquake style print on it, and all the unique fonts that they put together for this, I'd say with all these different things, plus the color scheme, that's another obvious win in my book. I mean, just look at that. Dark gray, white, vermilion red, as well as cyan blue. Just a unique, pretty scheme, the way I see it. But with all the pros and cons, the highs and lows, and the ins and outs of this blaster, it only does lead me to give it probably no more than a 7.5 out of 10.1. So, just a bit above what the Boom Dozer gave us, but not quite as much to take on the Big Rig. So, as much as this blaster is probably worth the money for, if you're really hoping to really expand your collection as ginormous as possible like I have been over the years, this may be right up your alley. For me though, I'd say it might just be average in many different ways. But with all the pros on this blaster, and with the fact that it's just a good excuse to have one last piece of what the XL line could offer before they decided to pull the plug on it, well, it really does make you wonder though. Could there have possibly been any other idea that Nerf could have had? I mean, it was one thing where Nerf tried to eliminate Rival by bringing along the Curve Shots line and then trying to make Hyper the next best thing, which I've referred to as Keen, not Hyper, because we've already gotten a site like that called Hyper Sight. But hey, there's just lots of questions out there that I feel like we ought to get some answers for. Could there have been an XL clip system blaster? Or could there have been something on the brinks of other things related to XL that we could have gotten instead of it just being a 3-blaster run, much like other franchises? Well, I guess in due time, these burning questions will be answered with a nice mouthful of water. Anyways though, this will be it for now, and I will be back sometime with another blaster to showcase and test out the Invisibullet mod.